All right. Going back to the book, strategy, the points which the general must consider before the day of battle. A ship cannot cross the sea without a helmsman, nor can one defeat an enemy without strategy and tactics. With these and the aid of God, it is possible to overcome not only an enemy force of equal strength, but even one greatly superior in numbers. For it is not true, as some inexperienced people believe, that wars are decided by courage and number of troops, but, along with God's favor, by tactics and generalship. And our concern should be with these rather than wasting our time mobilizing large numbers of men. The leader must take advantage of favorable times and places in fighting against the enemy. First, he must guard against hostile attacks which can injure our men, and then he must attempt to launch the same against the enemy. Above all, he must look for enemy ambushes, sending out frequent and far-ranging patrols in all directions in the area around the battlefield. He must avoid disordered and uncoordinated pursuits. Now, think about what we started this whole thing off. You get the advantage, you get the upper hand in battle, go finish them. Keep pursuing them until all the enemy is completely destroyed. But he's saying this right here. He must avoid disordered and uncoordinated pursuits. Now, my first deployment to Iraq, there was a couple times we got ambushed. We were in our vehicles, got ambushed, and the urge is stop the vehicles, let's go get these guys. And we didn't do that. On these particular missions, we had some kind of priority target we were going after. So we're going after a bad guy somewhere. We make it through the ambush. If all of a sudden I say, okay, stop, we're going to go get these guys, like an ego thing. Like that would basically be an ego thing. Oh, stop the vehicles, we're going to go get these guys. Not a good call. We made it through the ambush. We're good. We have a mission to accomplish. Let's report this up the chain of command. Maybe they can get some aircraft overhead or something like that. But we're not going to just go into this disorganized pursuit of an enemy that actually has the upper hand. Because we made it through that festive. What else do they have prepared for us? Because I can guarantee you they want you to stop. So you need to think before you just get overly aggressive. Back to the book. We would not allow the general to take part personally in raids or other reckless attacks. These should be entrusted to other competent officers. For if one of the subordinate officers blunders or fails, the situation may be quickly straightened out. But if the leader of the whole army fails, this fall can open the way to complete disorder. The general is wise who, before entering into war, carefully studies the enemy and can guard against his strong points and take advantage of his weaknesses. Obvious stuff that we talk about every single day. Back to the book. Warfare is like hunting. Wild animals are taken by scouting, by nets, by lying in wait, by stalking, by circling around, and by other stratagems rather than by sheer force. In waging war, we should proceed in the same way, whether the enemy be many or few. To try to simply overpower the enemy in the open, hand-to-hand and face-to-face, even though you might appear to win, is an enterprise which is very risky and can result in serious harm. Apart from extreme emergency, it is ridiculous to try and gain a victory which is so costly and only brings empty glory. We're talking about flanking. We're talking about always making sure that the cards are stacked in your favor. That's what we're talking about here. And again, it applies in life. It applies in jiu-jitsu. We had a little battle like that today.
We did.
You were. I was actually. Did you see me smiling? I was like kind of laughing because you were, boom, coming at me. And I was kind of laughing because I was thinking about this podcast, and I was thinking, hey, he's going head to head with me, face to face, and I'm gonna flank him. But that's the way it works.
Evidently.
Yeah, apparently. All right, back to the book. On the actual day of the battle, the general should not take on too many tasks. He might exert himself too much, become worn out, and overlook some really essential matters. Now that to me is number one, you got to detach, and number two, you don't want to be in the weeds. If you're trying to get everything you're done yourself, you're going to overlook some really essential matters.
Yeah.
He should not look downcast or worried, but should ride jauntily along the lines and encourage all troops. He should not himself join in the actual fighting. This is not the role of the general, but of the soldier. After making all the proper arrangements, he should station himself in a suitable spot from which he can observe which troops are exerting themselves and which might be slackening. When needed, he should be ready to send assistance to a unit in trouble by making use of his reserves, that is, the flank and rear guards. So you got to stay detached. And we're talking the general here. This is the general. This is the CEO, right? This is the president of a company. Not getting so far into the weeds that you just don't see what's happening. And you can't, if you're in the weeds fighting, who's going to be watching to see that area is slackening? Who's going to be able to direct the rear guard to help out? Who's going to send the reinforcements? The answer is nobody. You're not doing your job. Here's another one. Even though the general decides against a pitched battle, he should still make preparations for one. Got to be ready. Somebody asked me actually on Twitter a couple days ago, are you worried about another 9/11 in America? And I said, I'm not worried. I'm prepared. And that's what this is saying. Even though you don't want to do a pitched battle, you must say, I'm not going to meet them. Hey, that's too much of a frontal attack. I'm not going to do that. You better be ready for one.
Yeah.
That might be the only choice. You might get attacked, but you got to always be ready. Back to the book. He should make it appear that he plans on one and convey the impression to all his troops that he will definitely attack the enemy. This will cause trouble for the enemy when it comes to their knowledge. So you got to prepare. Be prepared. No slack.